Many of you know James Sonny McCullough has been the mayor of Egg Harbor Township for 25 years. Sonny still lives in Seaview Harbor in Egg Harbor Township with his wife Georgianne, and he has 4 sons, Jim, George, William, Sonny, Sean, and 5 grandchildren. I asked Sonny to come today because Sonny's actively involved in another special project called the Wounded Warriors Fund. Sonny was kind enough to bring some wristbands, which I have one on now, that we'll be handing out to our students during our PBSIS ceremony so they can understand the project and what it means. The Wounded Warriors Project, the mission was to honor and empower wounded warriors. It's basically to raise awareness and enlist the public's aid for the need of injured service people. It provides unique direct programs and services to meet the needs of our injured servicemen. At this time, I'd like to welcome Sonny McCullough.
Superintendent, like Bob said, it is an honor to be here. This is a wonderful thing that Folsom does every year to recognize your veterans who live in the area, and a lot of them have joined. How did I get involved with the Wounded Warrior Project? Well, I grew up in the 40s, and my mother used to take me up in Atlantic City, by the way. And by the way, I have 8 grandkids. But anyhow, I grew up in the 40s, and my mother used to take me up on the boardwalk in Atlantic City. And if you know anything about World War II, Atlantic City, all the grand hotels were turned into hospitals for our wounded soldiers. And I saw the care and the climate that the citizens of Atlantic City and New Jersey, how they treated the wounded soldiers from World War II, from the Pacific Theater and from the European theaters. And this morning I had an opportunity to sit across from a veteran of the European theater. But I saw how well and how nice that these soldiers were treated. And when I tried to get into service, I couldn't. I went to every service, even the Marines, and the Marines wouldn't take me because I had a torn Achilles tendon from football, and I had asthma pretty bad. So I went to work at a nightclub called Tony Mart's. Anybody ever remember Tony Mart's in Summers Point? I'd see some head bob. Well, a little girl back here has her hand down. I don't think so. But anyhow, I worked. This was a gigantic nightclub in Summers Point. And during the Vietnam era, which was my era, they used to bring busloads of wounded soldiers in from Vietnam. And I'm talking about horrible injuries. Legs gone, eyes gone, brain damage. And they would bring them in for the entertainment. And they would push them off in the corner. And no one seemed to really care. And there was a lot of ugliness to some of the returning Vietnam veterans. And it was a disgrace. So when the Iraqi war started, again, our veterans experienced a lot of terrible injuries. And in 1993, a group of Vietnam veterans, knowing about the injuries and the care, and the Veterans Administration decided to form an organization called the Wounded Warriors Project. Now, the Wounded Warrior Project does and goes beyond what the United States Veterans Administration does. They provide extra things for these wounded soldiers coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. And by the way, these Vietnam veterans said that this organization would only recognize soldiers injured from 9/11, 2001. It was geared towards the current war, not the Vietnam War that they served in, not the Korean War that was called the Forgotten War, and not World War II. And what the Wounded Warrior Project does is provide the extras. It helps the families get and stay close by to where their soldier is injured, the parents, the wives, the children. After they get out of the hospital, they provide services. They take them on trips, skiing, fishing, golfing, just trying to find opportunities for employment for these wounded heroes. So I've been, for at least 3 or 4 years, I've been wondering, what can I do to make up for what I possibly didn't do to our veterans and wounded people coming back from Vietnam. And I found out about this Wounded Warrior Project, and I started studying it for about a year or so. And then I wrote them and emailed them and asked them about what can I do? I'd like to do something to raise money. The organization has grown to a national organization. It started in Virginia, but now has grown to be a national organization, and it's based in Florida now. They wrote me back, and I said, I'd like to do some type of fundraiser, maybe a golf tournament. And they authorized me to do that. I put a committee together of, there's at least 2 Wounded Warriors on the committee, and a number of Vietnam veterans on the committee. And we had a golf outing this past October. And my goal was to raise $10,000 and send it down to the Wounded Warrior Project. And by the way, they try to spend the money back up in the geographic area from which it came. So anyhow, we put on this tournament, and we had about 12 Afghanistan and Iraqi Wounded Warriors, men and women both, there. The project paid for their hotels. We gave them free golf, and lo and behold, we raised $24,000 on our first mission with the Wounded Warriors. So they had a ball. I tell you, you almost had tears in your eyes when I called up the 12 wounded soldiers, men and women, and the crowd went crazy. They stood up, they applauded, they made these young people feel great. And then I went out there when they were playing golf themselves, and it's like they had their own society. They seem to get along with each other. They understand each other like we can't understand it. Or maybe some of you people who have been wounded in combat understand. But anyhow, I really appreciate the fact that you've given me the opportunity to come here and talk about this project, because we're going to do it again. And a lot of people said we didn't know. If we'd have known, we would have helped and contributed. And maybe, Bob, I know you're a golfer, maybe you can help us out this year. Anyhow, I don't have a date, but what I'll do, I'll certainly let the Folsom people know when we're going to do it. That you don't have to be a golfer to participate. We have hole signs, whatever. And I would like to double what we did this year and provide some money so we can really help these men and women coming back from these wars with these really horrible injuries. So with that said, thank you so much for allowing me to be here today, and God bless you all.
I am Taylor Ward from Miss Hawkins' 8th grade. We borrowed the theme for this year's cover and thought from Jan Strauss, founder and president of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund. According to the calendar, all the men and all the women who so courageously and selflessly served our nation in the military are to be honored on just one day, Veterans Day. Most of the Americans known our nearly 25 million veterans deserve to be honored every day of the year. That's 365 days. We respect, admire, and support our men and women in the armed services, and each branch of service celebrates its own birthday. The National Guard on December 16th, the U.S. Army on June 14th, the U.S. Marine Corps on November 10th, the U.S. Navy on September 7th, the U.S. Coast Guard on August 4th, and the U.S. Air Force on September 17th. Besides these days, we can honor our veterans on President's Day, Independence Day, Memorial Day, Armed Forces Day, Flag Day, VE Day, Victory over Europe, VJ Day, Victory over Japan, National Korean War, Veterans Armistice Day, Gold Star Mother's Day, POW/MIA Recognition Day, and most recently Patriots Day on September 11th. Although there are plenty of days and ways we can honor our veterans, we are very happy to have you here so that we can say thank you.
On Veterans Day, we honor all who answered to the service call. Soldiers young and soldiers old fought for freedom, brave and bold. Some have lived while others died, and all of them deserve our pride. We're proud of all the soldiers who kept thinking of red, white, and blue. They fought for us and all of our rights. They fought through many days and nights. And though we may not know each name, we thank all veterans just the same.
I am here. Because of you, I am able to move freely. Yet I do not know you, and I have not done anything for you. But there you stand, ready to fight, and there you are prepared to die for me. You fought before, and you fight again for someone you don't know. So So thank you, unknown soldier, fighting for me. I'm here because of you.